Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
And Rutherford Issues here on WGNS and Big GTV, brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric. Our friends at MTE want to make sure you're in the loop. So head over to MTE.com to update your contact info so that you can get those timely alerts on outages, billing, and more. We're going to get an update from the Better Business Bureau here this morning. Joining us is James Price of the BBB, and we're going to be talking about some consumer resources that you can find from the Better Business Bureau. James, first of all, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you doing?
Doing good. Good to be with you here today. I noticed something when I went on the BBB's website today.
Oh, yeah?
I noticed that there's been a logo change.
There has been a logo change. BBB is doing some redefining of the brand, and it's the first time in quite a while they've had a logo change. So you'll start seeing that logo change in a lot of different places.
Yeah, there's still a torch of some type, but it's three B's like on top of each other, kind of like 3D-ish. I like it.
Yeah, it looks good. It's getting up with the times, you know?
Yeah, I guess there goes everything that you've got that's BBB, you know. You've got to get all new stuff now.
Yeah, new shirt, new logo, new hat, anytime there's a logo change, you know, you got to like redo everything.
I know. So, boy, tell me, don't I know? But one thing that doesn't change, and that's, how you're really there for consumers. And maybe just give me an overview of kind of what is it that the BBB does? Because you have your hand in a lot of things, on the business side to help businesses, but you're also on the consumer side, which we're going to talk about today. But what is it that the BBB does and is all about?
So first thing we'll start with this morning is when a business comes to BBB to get accredited, what they have to do is they have to commit to our 8 standards of trust. And those 8 standards of trust are to build trust, advertise honestly, tell the truth, be transparent, honor promises, be responsive, safeguard privacy, and embody integrity. And, we can absolutely, for the first 7 of those, they're very objective. We can tell whether or not a business is doing that or not. The last one, embody integrity, comes down to a subjective thing, whether BBB wants to accredit that business or not. Like some businesses out there, they'll tell you right up front, hey, we're gonna charge you X amount, and it's an excessive amount, but that's what we're going to charge you. So they advertise honestly, but it's not necessarily in the best interest of the consumer or embodying that integrity, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's that takes a little investigation. That takes some work, and that's what's done. And then sometimes maybe the information that you have, but it turns out a year or 2 down the road, you find information. I mean, there have been people that go from being accredited to not. They're that kind of thing. So,
and we are not a pay-to-play organization. You just can't. For a business, just can't come to us and say, "Hey, here's my money. I want to get accredited." No, we once they do an application, then we'll do a background check to make sure that there's no outstanding. Make sure that they pay their bills, no outstanding lawsuits, that kind of stuff along the way. So we really dig into an application for a business when they want to get accredited. And this is to protect the consumer. It's to protect the business, and it's actually there to protect the good businesses against the not so good businesses. So when you go to BBB and you're looking for somebody to do some kind of work for you, you want to get some kind of service done, people can rest assured know that, we have gone through and we have actually done a background check on these businesses, and businesses get denied all the time for various different reasons. And it comes down to these 8 standards of trust.
And then, as we talk about what's there for consumers, it's a place for consumers to be able to go and know businesses they can trust, but it's so much more. We give consumer tips here all the time. We have scam alerts and all of that, where you can report scams, finding businesses. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about today that are resources for consumers. So where do you want to start with some of these?
So I know we've talked about consumer tips in the past, that people can go to bbb.org and they can look up consumer tips and the different things that, we can do for your home, your financial wellness, your tax headquarters, your scam headquarters, cybersecurity. There's just a variety of things on there that people can look up. But a couple that we want to focus on today, and of course you can go on there and you can see the latest news and scam alerts. We'll talk about reporting a scam today. And so if you go to bbb.org and you go to the scam tracker, I kind of pulled up a couple of these today that, we can just kind of talk about to see what kind of scams that people report on there. And some of these people have not lost any money, but they know they would have if they would have gone through with this. The first one I come up with here was a person who said there was a follow-up for a funding approval over at Independent Financial Group. And the reason for my call is this is the person from Independent Financial Group calling. The reason for my call is so that you've been pre-qualified for a personal loan starting at $30,000 with a low payment of $350. I'm calling you because your approval status is about to expire. So, that FOMO is one of the things that people get on, and they want to lock in their rate, and they said, hey, give me a call. And so a lot of times what this is these are just people or scammers reaching out, trying to scam people into paying them money or think that they're going to get a big windfall. There's other scams on here that were reported about. They got a job offer and they were sent a check for expenses, and they called the bank, and of course it was fake. And that's an old one. Companies where they've ordered something and they were charged for the shipment, and then when they got it, it never got shipped. Mm-hmm. And so the company never answered. And then, we've talked about this before is, some of these scams in here you can look at where they've gone and bought something and they've turned around and tried to call their customer service line and they can't get a hold of anybody. And I think we've said on this show numerous times before, if you're thinking about buying something from somebody, especially if it's an online service or a business you don't know, try to contact their customer service department before you make the purchase. If you can't get a hold of them before you make the purchase, there's a good chance you're not going to be able to get a hold of them after you make your purchase. And to me, that's a really good thing that consumers can do to make sure that they're working with a reputable business. It's just one of the ways. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. So I would encourage everybody to get on bbb.org and just go to the scam tracker and, just read some of the ones that are out there. You'd be surprised at the number of scams are out there. And of course, if you've seen where you've been scammed before, or people tried to scam you, put it in there. The one that's hitting the market right now, and I've got a text on this, and several people at BBB have gotten it, was the Department of Motor Vehicles has they're billing you for some kind of violation that you had, and if you don't send in the money or call right now, they're going to suspend your license. And so this is just a follow-up to the one they had last year, where motor vehicle departments would send people notices that said, hey, you didn't pay your toll. And so now you need to pay your toll, and there's a fine attached to it, and people they'll just pay it. And so be careful. Those Department of Motor Vehicles is not going to notify you via text. In fact, no government agency will notify you via text. If they want you, they know where you're at. They'll get a hold of you.
The thing about it is, if I talked last time we were on about the deal that I went through with a Verizon rep who was not. But all they're trying to do is get as much information about you as possible. Mm-hmm. And, at one point it was, well, can you confirm the last 4 of your social security number? If they've got 4 numbers, then all of a sudden later on in the conversation, we need to get your full social security number to get this information. And all the while they're just plucking valuable info out of you. And then all of a sudden you've given them, I'm giving them the world.
Yeah. So they might start out by saying, hey, can you confirm the last 4 digits of your social security number? And you can say, yes. And they'll go, okay, what is it? No, I can confirm it. You tell me what you have, and I'll confirm whether that's correct or not. So when scammers fish for stuff, they have that sneaky little way of saying, well, can you confirm your home address?
Yeah.
And you don't give it to them. You say, okay, well, yeah, I can confirm it. And then you wait for them to give you the address, and they go, well, what's your address? Well, no, I can confirm if you have the correct address or not, but I'm not giving it to you. So just kind of watch the way that they word things and the answers you give back. Never give them any information about you or any of your personal information. That's the easiest way for the scammers to just fish out information from you.
Yeah. And Scam Tracker is if you run across one of those, and I'm sure that you will, go ahead and report that on Scam Tracker. Hopefully you're not taken with any money, but if you are, but I see a lot of them, these are just people reporting scams, and they haven't been scammed out of any money or anything like that, but they're reporting it. And it's good to kind of look at that every now and then just to see what's floating around out there, because you're going to get a call or a text sometime soon.
Right. So the next thing I want to talk about today for everyone is something we call Get a Quote at BBB. Now, before, I'm sure people out there have needed an HVAC person. They're looking for a used car, roofing contractor, auto repairs, home improvement, lawyer, dentist, restaurants. It doesn't matter what it is. You can actually get a quote from a business through BBB. And so if you go to bbb.org and you select Get a Quote, it's going to ask you, what kind of business do you need? A roofer, a plumber, electrician. Then you type in your zip code. And what it'll do is BBB will provide you with a list of accredited businesses. Remember, we talked about this a second ago, where these are the businesses that have agreed to our 8 standards of trust. We've done background checks on them. And businesses who don't adhere to those standards of trust after they're accredited can be dropped by BBB if we show that they're not adhering to those 8 standards of trust. So if you want to get a quote for, let's just say, a plumber, you can type in there, I need plumbing. I'm in 37130 zip code. And it'll give you a list of those plumbers, and you can actually type in there what kind of service you're looking for. And what happens from there is BBB will now send these quotes, these requested quotes, to these plumbers. And they'll call you and give you a estimate or a bid on it. Now, they might not just be able to tell you right off the bat, hey, it's going to cost this much, because the bottom line says, hey, I got a leaky faucet. How much is it going to cost to replace this? Well, we are going to have to look at it, but at least the business can get online or get a hold of you and say, okay, well, tell me a little bit about your problem. They may be able to give you a generalized quote up front, but a lot of times, they can't tell you exactly what it's going to cost you in a lot of cases. Auto repairs is a good example. That I had a consumer call me yesterday and said that, they had to get a car fixed, and when it was a body kind of work. And so they said, well, they brought it in, they gave an estimate, and they said, well, this is what it's going to cost you. Then they started getting into the car to find out that there was other things that were damaged. And so, well, I mean, it's not the business's, the auto repair business's fault. The bottom line here is they're trying to get you back on the road as safely as possible with all the updates needed. And something that they ran into couldn't be visualized until they took something else off and really got into it. And so with any business, you're going to have those kind of things. I mean, a roofer could come out and say, yeah, I mean, we can put a new roof on for this price. And then they start taking the old roof off, and they find out that the base of the roof is rotted or molded in certain places. And it's like, this is going to run you a little bit more than what we thought, because, we're running into this defective material underneath the roof. The business is not trying to take advantage of you. Go back to those 8 standards of trust before. They're going to be transparent. They're going to honor their promises. They're going to advertise honestly. They're trying to build trust with you. These businesses that get accredited through BBB want to earn your trust. But that doesn't mean that in the end that they're not going to run into situations along the way that may end up costing the consumer more than the original job they got out. But they still want to make sure that when they're done with it, they've done a great job. And it's something that you can tell your neighbors, hey, they really did a good job. They really took care of me. Which leads me to, you can leave a review for businesses on bbb.org. So if you go and go to a business or get service somewhere and you get good service, leave a good review. It's one of those things, people have said for years, if a business does a good job for you, you may tell 1 out of 10 people. If they do a bad job, you're probably going to tell 10 out of 10 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can put a bad review for people online, and you can put a bad review, but when you see a business that's providing great service, give them a good review. Get online and say, hey, this business took care of me in the time they said. This is what happened. You might even run into a situation like the car example we had a minute ago, where they did run into a little bit of a situation, but in the end, I think they treated me fair, and I would give this business 5 stars, for how they handled it. So leave a review with businesses. And of course, going back to the get a quote, that can save you so much time. When you need a plumber, you start dialing the phone, you don't know who to call. If you go to bbb.org and you say, hey, I need a plumber, electrician, a roofer, whatever, you don't have to make any more calls. They'll start calling you. You don't have to kind of figure out who you're going to use from there. And BBB is only going to send you people that we background checked who've had committed to these 8 standards of trust. So I highly, highly recommend the Get a Quote. If you need something done around the house, you need a new car, you need to go buy something, do a Get a Quote.
All from BBB, yeah, 3 Bs, BBB.org. James, as always, good catching up with you.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's James. That's you have a great day too. Enjoy these clouds and cold weather. It's going to warm up by the end of the week, though. Looking forward to that. James Price with the Better Business Bureau here with us today. If you missed any part of the conversation, you'll want to go back and check the podcast. It'll be up shortly at WGNSradio.com. That's it for our time today. Until next time, take care out there.